on this last slide, let's talk about some things you can do. Let's talk about actionable steps you can walk away from tonight's class that you can do to optimize your oral health. And so number one, obviously, that's avoid gluten if you're gluten sensitive, because all those things we just talked about can be problematic. But some other things that you can do, number one is intermittent fasting. Remember, your mouth needs a break too, just like your gut. Intermittent fasting increases healing time. It accelerates the production of stem cells, and that leads to a more aggressive, faster healing. So intermittent fasting, and there are different strategies. If you want to learn more about this, go back and watch in my video archives. Go back and watch. I did an episode on intermittent fasting and talked in much greater detail about it. Avoid antibacterial mouthwash. Look, we're exposed to enough antibiotics through the chlorine in the water, the fluoride in the water, the bromine in the water, through the antibiotics in the meat. You don't need to add to it an antibacterial mouthwash. This can alter your microbiome and actually create problems. Probiotics. Using probiotics, oral probiotics, can be very helpful. There's more and more research coming out on probiotics for oral health and for gastrointestinal health. Very, very important. And you can take probiotics not just in a pill or capsule or powder. You can also take them by eating foods that are rich in probiotics. So foods like sauerkraut or fermented cabbage, fermented carrots, fermented cauliflower, all good options for a good probiotic to add into your diet. Avoid acidic foods. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't eat a tomato or citrus, but if you've already got enamel erosion, if you've already got decay, again, those teeth are going to be more susceptible. So before you eat a bunch of acidic foods, work on these other things and consider acidic foods as maybe something you want to avoid, or at least a lot of them, at least temporarily, as you work on improving your oral health. And then nutritional testing and supplementation. Again, start with testing. This is what I recommend. Start with testing and then supplement according to how your testing is coming back, because if you're low in certain nutrients, of course, that can lead to, your oral health declination. And then the last thing is testing for food sensitivities, because tonight we focused on gluten, but gluten, the way it works for most people is it creates an inflammation, right? And can other foods cause inflammation? Sure they can. Absolutely, they can cause inflammation. So be aware of that. As a matter of fact, I've seen cases where people had such severe gum disease and such severe oral health issues because of healthy foods they were eating that they were allergic to. So testing for food sensitivities and food allergies is very important, because if other foods are creating that inflammation, they can do just what gluten can do. On another note, something I didn't put up here is a lot of times when you go to the dentist, one of the things they want to do is put you on and increase your fluoride levels, and increasing your fluoride if you have a history of cavities. And so don't do this in lieu of the potential to investigate for food sensitivity or gluten sensitivity, because fluoride is actually an antibiotic. It's a natural antibiotic. So it can actually make the problem worse. I've seen cases where dentists put people on special fluoridated mouthwash and toothpaste, and it actually worsened the problem. And so when I say the problem, it increased bleeding of the gums. And I've also seen people who were allergic to some of the fluoride ingredients in many toothpastes, and again, worsening of this situation. So be aware that fluoride, which is a common solution that dentists give as a kind of catch-all, hey, you got a problem in your mouth, you got extra cavities, or you have bleeding gums, here's more fluoride, right? And oftentimes this can worsen the problem. So go back and look for the root cause. Nobody has bleeding gums as a result of fluoride deficiency, because fluoride in and of itself is not an essential nutrient. The body does not need fluoride to survive or sustain function. So be cautious of using abundant quantities of fluoride. Hey, don't forget to check out the rest of the series right here. Make sure you hit subscribe below. And as always, thanks for tuning in.